What you are about to hear are the views of Travis Pope and the Oklahoma Tomcat and is not supported by the government. Agreeing with the hosts of this show could cause you to be targeted by the government and government agencies. You have been warned.
Welcome. Good morning.
As you guys know, our theme song has changed.
Yes, we need to talk to our producer. Yes, we need to talk to our producer because that was some poor quality work there.
Actually, it was the producer who did that. It sounded better when it was when I heard it, without going through the station. So I may have to look up a different song.
Or
we
turn
did have
that
to
one
change
up.
our theme. But we did have to change our themes because, even though our song was short, somebody else was making money off of our YouTube podcast. So, yeah, we can't have that. Which I find that to be really crazy that these people who, by the way, the bands and groups that sing these songs don't actually own them most of the time, which I find that to be kind of weird. But I find it silly that they do that they don't want you even playing a small clip of their song, because we gave credit to every song we've played on here. We've always gave credit to the band that sang the song, but and to me that would be promoting the band, right? I mean, if people hear that theme song, I know I've done it with shows before where they play a small clip of the song, and I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. I went online, looked it up, and bought the song, so I could download it. But I guess they don't want that. They don't want promotion.
Yeah. The deal about that is, and I've looked it up and stuff. You got to have there's a license that you have to get.
Yep.
To be able to play all the types of music, even to be able to play full songs and stuff on the
full songs I understand. Yeah. Full songs I understand, but as far as just playing a small clip like we were, under 7 seconds long, they don't even want you doing that. Well, I mean, we didn't get in trouble for it, but it made it to where the people who owned the song was able to stop us from making money on our podcast on YouTube, and they were making the money, So I was like, well, I'm not going to do that, and I'm not going to pay no license just to have a theme song, So, I went with a generic beat.
Yeah, there's some sites out there that have non-royalty music that you can download from and use.
Which that's what that was that we just played.
Or we can get some people that have that know how to do music and just have them do them for us. Yeah, that's what we need. We need a band. We need a band for our show. We need a band for our show.
Which I did tweet out under Political TNT, and I have been trying to find any startup bands, because I did that one time on my blog. I've done blogs on Blogspot, or what do we call it? That blogging website where I did things like podcasts on, and there was a band that allowed me to use their song as a startup theme. So I'm kind of, if anyone listening knows of or does it themselves, they're a startup band that's trying to get their name out there and wants, to let us is willing to let us use one of their songs as a startup song, and we will give you credit. And in fact, I'll even make this offer: we'll have you on our show for 30 minutes, talk about your band. But I've been trying to find small bands to do that. The Dirty Uncles was who they were, the ones that allowed me to do it on my blog. They had a hilarious song. It was good. It was very well done, and actually spoke truth back when Obama was president.
The Dirty Uncles.
That they, yeah. They were
the
a
Dirty
rock
Uncle.
group. They did like a 80s style rock group is what they were.
The Dirty Uncles allowed you.
Yep, the Dirty Uncles allowed me. I got a lot of trucking news, so I'm going to go ahead and break out one of them right now. During this half hour, because so much popped up when I looked up trucking stuff, and this one here is very informative for truck drivers. Dallas, Texas. Many of the ramps on I-45 and I-20 now have lower weight limits that truck drivers need to be aware of. Now, truck drivers like you and I, Travis, we don't have to worry about this because the weight limit is set for our what we haul and everything, which is 34,000 pounds. But Texas is known for trucks being able to be heavier. So the ramps now are set per tandem 34,000 pounds, per axle 20,000 pounds. This ain't every ramp, and this is only temporary, I'm assuming, for their constructions and stuff. But they'll have the signs posted on the ramp. Be sure you're looking at that. You check that ramp out before you make that left or right turn onto the ramp. Otherwise, you might be caught. Bad predicament.
And since you're breaking out the trucking news, and it's kind of really important right here in the first, anyways, because this is going to be important too. Are you done? Are you done?
Well, let me just go down this list real quick. It's just a few extra things on that restriction. The type of vehicles restricted, because even if you may be limited on that, even if you might meet that weight, there's certain types of trucks also that are restricted. All permit loads. So if you're hauling any permit load, you will not be allowed to take that ramp. Mobile cranes, concrete trucks, recycle trucks, container trucks, EV class of fire engines, which is pretty bad, which is typically used in the airports, and well service trucks. So, like I said, if you see that weight limit sign, you will not be allowed on that ramp for that weight and for those type of trucks and cargo. All right, go ahead.
All right.
You still there, Trey? Okay.
Yeah, I'm still
what?
there.
That was short. That was short, man. You're kidding me. You're just impatient.
Yeah. I-15 construction in Virgin River starts May 5th. Or not May 5th, but May 1st, I think. Arizona DOT is asking drivers in those wider vehicles to take a 224-mile detour on Highway 93. So if you got a wide load, you must take US 93, Highway 93, through Cedar City and Crystal Springs, Nevada. It's a 224-mile detour on I-15 through the Virgin River. Regular trucks can go down that way, but they're narrowing the roads, so you could very well expect long delays, wrecks. You know how them 4-wheelers are through there. And so if you go that route, you take a chance. You might make it through. It's like playing Russian roulette going through there, and you will either breeze right on through, or you will be stuck in traffic for hours on hours, and you probably should have took the 224-mile detour.
I like this. I like that announcement. At the beginning of the show. That's cool. And another announcement: people, if you end up around Travis Pope's truck, please be careful. Okay, he's having a lot of bad luck, a lot of bad drivers being around him. Just don't drive reckless around him. Okay, he's a magnet for bad drivers.
I will put you on. I will put you on Facebook. I will video you. Like a couple of weeks ago, I had a Canadian driver. I swear we're putting a wall up on the wrong end on the wrong border. I had a Canadian driver back into me the other day, and messed up my hood a little bit. Not so bad where it's ugly, but it drives me insane because I know about it. And if someone walks by and sees it, they're like, "Oh, that driver can't drive." Well, it's not me.
Yeah.
It's them damn Canadians. He backed into me, and then I wish I had my dash cam up and running whenever this happened. And then the dude jumped out of his truck with no britches on.
Yeah. So Travis will make you famous if you want to be famous, then.
No, you don't want to be famous because the only thing that kept that Canadian guy from getting his ass whooped was because he was naked. Because I didn't want no wanker touching me.
So you would not make a good police officer, huh? I've seen a video where police officers had to tackle naked people.
No, I would just tase them.
And those of you that are listening to us live, we are. I am on the chat room there in Blog Talk. So feel free to comment there if you don't feel like calling in. And I'm on Twitter too right now, Political TNT. If you want to make comments or tweet your comments, feel free. And I'm on Facebook and I'm on MeWe. So we're sitting. I'm on everything.
He's on everything.
Yep. So. Yep.
Hey, if you notice to our callers, I know that y'all call in, or y'all not call in, but y'all come and listen because our Miss Producer, but she's playing hooky today. This time she didn't say she was going to work or anything, so I think she was playing hooky because she's celebrating a pagan holiday, worshiping a pagan god. So I think that's why she's not here today.
That's right. Today's Easter, isn't it?
Yep. Happy Pagan Day.
Unfortunately, Judy had to work. Otherwise I would have told her, feel free to call in. But she was on the phone with me when she was was going to work, and it was hilarious. I'm sorry, Judy. I have to bring this up, but you know how I always tell people: do not depend on your GPS. All right, don't depend on it. It's a computer depending on satellites, depending on humans to programs and put in the routes and all that stuff. There's so many hands involved in a GPS. If people understood how, and I've checked in on this on how, because I'm the type of person, I'm a curious person, which is why I love science, and I've looked up how GPSs work. And if you understood what is involved in making that GPS, that computer, to know how to route you, you would understand why they will misroute you a lot. And it was hilarious. I'm bringing that up because Judy called me early this morning on her way to work. And by the way, for those of you that don't listen on a regular basis, Judy calls in, every once in a while into the show.
And gives her brother trouble.
She was on, yes, and gives her brother trouble. She causes a lot of trouble. But she was on her way to work, and she is depending on Google Maps, her GPS, to route her because they have this construction on her regular route. They have it closed down, and you have to take a detour and all that. So she's depending, rather than following detour signs or figuring out ahead of time where these detours are, she's depending solely on her GPS to get her to work. And the GPS tells her to go a different route every single day. And she had to turn around several times while we were on the phone. And it kept rerouting her constantly during her trip.
Does she yell at it like I do?
Yeah. Well, not quite like you do, but she does keep on rushing it. Why are you rerouting? Why are you rerouting? Come on, hurry up, reroute. I'm lost. So
wait a minute. Hold them up.
Yeah.
Judy.
Yeah.
Is going to work, right? She goes to the same job every day, right?
Yes.
How is she freaking lost?
Because they have construction on her normal route to work, so she has to go a different route to work.
Okay. So she's a robot.
The road is closed.
She does the same. Route.
Yes.
She knows nowhere. I live in Houston. I live in one of the biggest cities in the United States. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I can go everywhere, anywhere, and never get lost, and without a GPS.
You know what's sad, Travis? A lot of people. They follow, and actually, I've seen security shows, where they kind of give people advice and stuff on, and one of the ways that people can get targeted if they have somebody, stalking them or targeting them or following them is people are robots. And that's why, Travis, have you noticed if you ever call into a customer and ask them how do you get to a place, their place of business, a lot of them will have you talk to somebody else, or they don't know themselves how to get there, and you're like, you work there. And this is why a lot of people cannot give directions to their job because they are not really paying attention to where they're going or their surroundings. Judy now, she is one of the people that irritate me when it comes to directions because she's a landmarker type of directions person. She can tell you how to get to her sisters and all that stuff and her relatives. She can give you great instructions if you can follow those landmarkers. For instance, to go to her daughter's house, she will tell you at the pine trees, turn left. And what it is there's a cornfield with 2 pine trees in the middle of the cornfield. That's her landmark. She cannot tell you what the name of that street is. And that irritates me to death. I hate that.
I do that. I do that to you a lot just to get on your nerves.
I know. I'm like, well, what's the name of the? Well, there's a clearing there. Do you see the clearing yet? What? Look for no clearing. Especially out in the country, that's really irritating. And I have a couple of stories on people doing that to me. One was a direction sent to me over the Qualcomm, and it said, at the Pizza Hut, take a left. I was like, well.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously. I turned left, and it led me into a police station. They failed to tell me, at the second Pizza Hut, take a left. The other one was.
More than one. on the same
Yeah,
road?
It was a large town. So yeah. And then there was a time when I worked local, they told me, okay, you'll find a place, and it was out in the country where I'm going, you know. You'll find a place, you'll see a dump truck, you know, and what it was this place had a row of businesses, right? So you had to, and unfortunately the businesses did not have a name on them. So, you know, they said, on Oklahoma 48 or something like that. I'm making something up on that. But, you know, it's the Oklahoma route. On your left, you're going to see a dump truck. You're going to turn left there. Been down those businesses. Never found the dump truck. The dump truck wasn't there.
They moved it.
Yes. Well, it was apparently it was a dump truck when I finally found a place because I called up back, you know. And I was like, there's no dump truck. You didn't see the dump truck? No, there's no dump truck. Where do I turn? Which one of these businesses is it? And so, you know, he tried to describe what the business looked like, what the road driveway looked like, or what, you know. And finally, I did find a place. And I went in and I told them about it. And they said, oh, yeah, we sold that dump truck.
Wow.
I told Judy that, and she goes, don't worry. If I ever give you directions, it'll be a stationary object like pine trees. I'm like, thanks.
What if they cut them down?
Yeah, or, well, if you've ever been in that area, the Northwest, there's lots of pine trees.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to go to your sister's daughter's house, to those two pine trees out in the middle of the cornfield, and cut them down. And then she gives someone directions. Yeah, well, you see the
Seraphina, I can't find your place. You've been here many times. Yeah, but there's no pine trees are missing. I can't find the pine trees.
I'm in the wrong area.
We're up and down the road. Where is it?
Yeah, and then we'll call her and tell her, hey, Judy, we cut those trees down just for you. I spent 5 hours out there trying to find my way to my daughter's house. Oh, better yet, we'll go out there and cut the trees down, and right there in that field, we'll put a sign up there that says, Judy, learn the streets' names.
Oh. Yeah, I always like to make fun of the landmarker type directions, and same thing with people who don't know northeast, west, south, you know. But I grew up learning that. I mean, my stepdad, first of all, my dad was a truck driver, but my stepdad was also big on directions. Detailed directions, street names, northeast, southwest, all this stuff. And I grew up knowing, then, of course, me having been in the Navy, you know, you had to learn all this stuff out in the middle of the ocean. So, you know, as far as northeast, west, south, you know. So it's it's one of my pet peeves. But it does come in handy even in the trucking because, like, for instance, you know, you say take I-81, take exit, or what's even worse is when they don't use exit numbers. They say take the you know, exit. And I'm like, okay, whereabouts is that on I-81? Then they say take that exit and take a left. Okay, take a left if I was heading south, or take a left when I was heading north.
Yeah, here's one of my pet peeves. Okay, when you have directions and you look up a street name, okay, and you go to a business. This just happened down in Houston. All right, construction companies, are y'all freaking stupid? Road construction companies, don't answer that because the fact is this: they will have the same street name, but it's divided by a railway. one side of the railway is Davis Street, and then the street completely disappears because of fences and railways, and then you go half a mile down down to the other side, and then they continue the street on the other side. And I've got backed up in a truck on one of them, especially like the most recent one was down in Houston. You remember I called? We was actually fixing to do a show that morning, and and I pulled up to it, and I was like, I can't get my truck down that road, and it was the road. It was the road that I was supposed to be on, but it was divided by a whole bunch of railroad. And so I called the business, and the lady goes, "Well, I don't know where you're at." And I said, "Well, I'm on the corner of your street and this street." She goes, "I don't even know where that street's at." I'm like, "Oh my Lord, I'm on the wrong side." So I had to pull up the maps and I had to pull up Google Maps and look, and well, I had to go back. I had to back out, go around, go backwards. Back out back on the main road and go down a half a mile and make another turn, and there it was on the other side of the railway.
Yeah, I hate driving through construction anyway because they just totally mess things up, you know. Especially if you're trying to if you have to exit in a construction zone or anything like that.
Yep.
I know Dallas.
And we got 3 minutes left.
Oh, okay. All right, 3 minutes left. Hey, you know what I did? Let me go ahead and play this. I got one of the things I'm working on is doing pre-recorded advertisement. Now, don't worry, everybody. Anyone who has small business will still talk about your business here on Political TNT. But we are fixing to get other shows on the Liberty National Network, and they'll have to do these advertisements too. And also, when I'm missing, you know, Travis is a little shy when it comes to talking on the air. So, you know, and our Miss Producer, she won't do it, you know. So I'm working on recorded advertisements for that purpose only. All right. But I'm going to go ahead and play this one to see how it came out on, you know, how, because as I found out in that intro music, it didn't come out quite as good on the air as it did when I heard it over my speakers. When I was playing it on the computer. So let's see how this sounds. This here's an advertisement for BT Express Global Services.
Hello, I am the Oklahoma Tomcat, host of Political TNT and a truck driver. And as a truck driver, I understand how difficult it is to find a company that's small enough to take care of its drivers, but large enough that you get the benefits that you need. I am proud to announce that I have found that company. It is BT Express Global Services. BT Express Global Services is owned and operated by Billy Turner. Billy Turner is a truck driver himself, and he looks out for the driver. You will have his phone number. You'll be able to contact him personally if you have any problems or issues. And he's able to also offer his drivers great benefits. Benefits like medical, dental, vision, life insurance, and also a retirement package. How's he able to do that? Well, he takes his trucks and he contracts them onto a larger company. And that larger company is who offers all the benefits and stuff. So you're driving for Billy Turner, but you also have all the great benefits that you can only get from a large company. If this sounds interesting to you, I encourage you to email Lance Wells at lance@btexpressauto.com. That's lance@btexpressauto.com. And let them know that Travis Pope and the Oklahoma Tomcat sent you.
To work a little bit more on that. We'll be back after these messages.
The Liberty National Network.
A boy born in Joplin, Missouri was fascinated by anything with wheels and a motor. The odds of him going on to fascinate millions with his talent? 1 in 260,000. The odds of this born racer having 157 career top 10 finishes in NASCAR? 1 in 125 billion. But every driver seeks the pinnacle of their achievements. The odds of him winning both the Daytona 500 and the Brickyard 400 in the same year? 1 in 195 million. The odds of a child being diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I'm NASCAR driver Jamie McMurray, and my niece has autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Early diagnosis can make a lifetime of difference. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Corinne, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is President of Hillsdale College, Dr. Larry Arnn, on the threat of bureaucratic despotism.
One of the chief sponsors of the Dodd-Frank Finance Reform Bill called that legislation, quote, about as important as it gets, because it deals with every single aspect of our lives, end quote. And how does this legislation deal with every aspect of our lives? In the most unconstitutional way. It sets up a board called the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which has the power to regulate our economic transactions independently of both the President and Congress. In other words, permanent government employees are placed in charge of us beyond the control of those we elect, the control of we the people. This is a violation of the representative form of government without which there can be no constitutional government.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To receive a free pocket constitution and declaration, go to constitutionminute.com.
Travis Pope may sound like a big bad gorilla, but he is really a big cuddly teddy bear. You are listening to Political TNT on the Liberty National Network. If you want to be part of the show, dial 914-338-1906 and then press 1.
Welcome back to the show.
Welcome back.
And I got the Republicans all wired up already this morning. In fact, I almost end up late to the show myself because of this. Because I posted on Facebook and, yeah, they're all mad. They're trying to justify what Trump is doing. And I saw this morning, and it was posted by the White House. So the Republicans could not call it fake news. What it is, it's bragging about something that President, and what he is doing is he's lifting up American communities. And how is he doing that? Tax cuts and incentives to businesses that set up in poor communities. And this is exactly what I've criticized Bush for doing, for Clinton for doing, for Obama for doing. I do criticize local governments for doing it. I criticize any government for doing it. And the reason why I say this is bad for all you statists out there who think this is great, that the government should be doing this and all that and try to justify governments for doing it, is because it's playing favorites. It's giving a certain group of people or companies, it doesn't matter, tax cuts and breaks, make it so they pay less taxes than everyone else because they are doing what the government wants them to do. And you may agree with Trump the reason Trump is doing this. You may say, hey, but that's helping grow that community and stuff like that. But how about when Obama was doing it? See, when you give any president this kind of power, or even Congress this type of power in the tax codes, you got to remember that your guy, the one that you agree with the reason why they're doing it, will not be president or in the Congress forever. And that gives the other guy power to do the same thing, but for companies that you don't agree with. So, why give any government this type of power? And the way I look at it, if you have enough money to give a certain group a tax break or tax cuts or anything, that means you're taxing everyone else too much. Cut everyone's taxes, not just your favorite group. That's why, child credit taxes, the child credit, that's wrong. Why are you rewarding people who have children and punishing people who don't? And this here, I really, really have a problem with even more. Because why is he choosing just these communities and not, well, shoot, how about my community? Hey, I don't want businesses setting up in my town. But the town next to us, it's poor. Does it qualify for all this? It offers capital gains tax relief. And by the way, this is coming from the federal government, not from the local government, which makes it that much, even though I'd be against local governments doing it too. But this here is from the federal government, which means we're all paying for this. Maybe not directly because they're not actually getting money, but you're paying for it because you're paying higher taxes so these guys can get tax breaks. If it was equal across the board, instead of doing this, give everybody an equal tax break. Why not? It also opportunity zones. It gives opportunity zones. There's a list of them here. 37% below the state median. All those are if who qualifies. It's giving $100 billion in private capital investment. How do you feel about this, Travis? Does this sound like capitalism? Nope. I guess Travis ain't on. No. Oh, okay. He did send me a private text. But here's some of the things that I'm getting bashed about on this. Because, apparently now Republicans are for government bribing companies to do what they want to do. Because that's what this is. It's bribery. It's saying, hey, if you set up in these areas, we're going to have it to where you pay less taxes than everyone else. Same basic thing that Obama was doing, but now, but now the Republicans are suddenly for it. But Republicans say this is capitalism. That's what some of them are texting to me. This is capitalism. This is how capitalism works. Is it? I was under the impression that capitalism is where government is completely out of the way of private businesses. And you and I choose, which businesses work and which ones don't in our area based on us giving it money. And if government has to do this for the economy in certain areas, then you have to admit, then what you're basically saying, it's not admitting, it's actually false. But what you're saying is that capitalism can't work because the people are unable to grow their economy, economy in their area through interaction of businesses, trade, and stuff like that. In which I'm totally against that. I believe that capitalism can work. Government involvement. I mean, companies and people can survive on their own without the government. We are able to make good choices. We are able to cause a company to fail and succeed by whether we do business with that company or not. We don't need the government getting involved, bailing out companies that are failing. We don't need government involved giving some companies tax breaks. We don't need any of that stuff. How these communities can survive? Let's cut everyone's taxes so that people are able to support themselves, so that companies do not, are able to invest in itself, so that everyone has more money to be able to spend. Spend where? At companies, businesses. I mean, you guys make it sound like that people are just pocketing all their money and stuff like that, and that if you give people tax cuts, they're not going to spend it. This is socialism. Is when you. I mean, that's one of the comments somebody made is, "Oh, since when have you been a socialist? Since when has socialists been for a completely free economy?" I mean, one of the people even said that was sounding like Ocasio-Cortez. No, she is totally against the free economy.
Man, I don't know. These people are freaking stupid. Look, Obama gave tax credits and tax cuts to the solar industry.
Yeah.
Remember that big scam? Remember that big?
Yep.
You remember that big scam that they had over in what was it? California with that solar industry, and
yep.
And it turned out that they were losing more money than they were making, but the federal government was propping them up.
Mhm. Yep.
I still hear it on the radio. That tax incentive is still in the works. Why hasn't Trump done away with that?
Wow.
That's costing us money. I heard it on the radio the other day. Or not radio, but I've seen someone post it because they do the solar panels on houses, a local business.
Yep.
And they said, and you still have the tax breaks, the Obama era tax breaks on the solar panels. Contact us. Solar panels are affordable to you. You could for as little as like $6,000, you can have your whole house run off of solar panels and still tie into the grid. So whatever's extra goes back to the business, the electric company, and they will pay you back for what you send back to them. I'm like, okay, for the actual cost of the material and the solar panels to cover that size of a house is close to $50,000. But because of the Obama era tax credits for using solar panels, now they only don't have to pay $6,000. I said, so where's the other money coming from? Oh, the taxpayers are paying for it. So I'm paying for a freaking business to put up solar panels, and while I'm still having to be connected to the freaking grid. paying electric bills every freaking month, while these people don't do it. All because they have the extra $6,000 to put out.
Mhm. Yeah, that's exactly what I was trying to get through these guys, these Republicans, who are for government bribing companies, to do what the government wants. Yeah, I brought that up. Were you guys for the Obama solar and wind power tax credits and stuff like that, which is, by the way, still in place? Oh, these windmills, the train, the rail system, the windmills, the solar panels, even those big, huge ones you see out in the middle of nowhere that the state set up and all that stuff. All that stuff is only possible because of government. You did not decide to do that.
We already paid for the stuff. How come we're not getting the free electricity off of it?
Yeah. In fact,
think about that, folks. In fact, I've heard that some people are getting letters when their company is first offering the wind power. You can have wind power. Yeah, it's going to cost you extra for the electricity coming from those windmills. So even with the tax cuts, you got to pay more for it. But think of all the great things you'll be doing for the environment, and the government will love you. Yeah, but they already said all that. But they already set up all them stuff with our tax monies. That's the only way they could do it was with our tax money.
Yep.
So how come I'm not getting free electricity now because you used my tax money to set it up?
Because here, I can answer that. This is how great government is, and government's looking out for you, Travis. Don't forget that. Government loves you. Everything they're doing is for you, okay? The reason why you still got paid for that electricity, in fact, your electric bill's probably gone up, is because with the tax money, it's just offsetting how much it would have gone up if the government didn't get involved. So running those windmills and those solar for the areas where they got the solar things, you and I pass one of them all the time, or quite often, not all the time. But they're off of I-17 there in California. But the reason why you're paying is because it costs that much to run them things. Even to run them, it costs that much that even with tax credits, you still got to pay more for your electricity. People don't realize that these are not cheaper alternatives. Not really. I mean, the only reason they're cheaper is because taxpayers are paying for it. Even when you buy it to put on your house, the only reason that you're not paying even more than you already do to maintain it and everything is because of the federal government playing favorites. You are getting a tax credit because of others paying more in taxes. And see, that's the thing. One guy stated on here, well, this ain't really costing the taxpayers anything. Yes, it is. It is. Granted, the company ain't getting cash from the taxpayers for doing this. They're getting tax breaks. But think about that. If in order for the government to have the money to bribe other companies by saying, hey, we're going to have you pay less, is because they're overtaxing everyone else. You're paying for it. Your taxes would be lower if it wasn't for these special favors.
I'm a diehard libertarian, okay? And I disagree with taxes altogether. Taxation is theft. But I realize that the government does need operation because I'm also a constitutionalist. So the Constitution does allow the government to tax the citizens.
Yep.
All right. But the current tax code is unconstitutional because everybody's supposed to be created equal under the Constitution. Now, granted, we know that there's nobody equal. I mean, everybody's not equal, but everybody should be treated equal. treated equal under the Constitution.
That's the key. Yep,
so therefore,
that's the key.
So therefore, there's not supposed to be no favoritisms. The current tax code is unconstitutional because it allows tax breaks and different tax levels, tax brackets for each person. There should be only one flat, straight tax. I've proposed 100,000 times that there should be a value-added tax, a straight, flat consumption tax. Period.
Yep.
On everything, fruit, vegetables, 8 cents on the dollar, 9 cents on the dollar, 10 cents on the dollar, and that's all you pay. You don't ever have to register. You don't have to file at the end of the year. You don't have to worry about the IRS coming in and kicking in your door. And let me tell you this. We have millions of people that tour America every year. Millions upon millions, hundreds of millions of people that tour America every year. And guess what? When they buy something, they'll be paying taxes too. All these the illegal immigrants are not paying taxes. Well, you know what? If we turned around and went to a straight, flat, value-added tax, that wouldn't even be a freaking issue. And then you was talking about earlier where you was talking about earlier about the child tax credits and the earned income credits. That's giving money back. That wouldn't even be an issue either on a flat sales tax. Because because then you wouldn't be worried about people who are not paying taxes at all getting any kind of money back from the federal government. There won't be no redistribution of freaking wealth in our country because all of it will be going right in there, and we will never have to file again. We will never see it. Everything is done through sales. I mean, we vote these people in up here, and they're supposed to be the brightest minds among us, and they can't figure that shit out. They cannot figure out a flat sales tax. No, it's about control. Oh, if we have this progressive tax here, they have to report to us every year. They have to spend money through H&R Block to do their taxes, or buy their freaking tax software to do their taxes now, because the tax code is so they're using it as a one, control, and a two, job creation. Because if they did a straight flat tax, sales tax, all these tax lawyers, all these tax softwares, all these IRS agents, all these will be out of a job. And for God forbid we do that. That's inhumane. Oh.
And here's another thing.
Worked up, man.
Here's another thing. How else will they be able to get people to do what they want them to do? I mean, think about that. You have the Democrats who want clean energy. The tax code made that happen, right? I mean, because these companies would not have started out without the bribery. How do Republicans, how are they able to get the companies to do what they want on their companies? How are they able to reward their buddies? Trump wanting these poor areas to prosper, probably to make himself look good, because that's what basically this article was. Say, hey, look at how great Trump is. If he can get these areas, these poor areas, mostly Democrat areas, probably inner cities and stuff like that. If he can make them look better, to where now everybody has jobs and stuff like that, that's going to boost his ratings, right? How can he do that? Using the tax code. So tax code is for being able for the government to force people to do what they want. How do you get people to buy more energy efficient equipment? if your washer and dryer and all that stuff has that special E symbol on it, whatever it is, you get a tax break. But how about people who don't use electricity in their house except only by solar panel like me? Oil lamps and stuff like that. Do I get a tax credit? No, because I'm not doing what the government wants. Isn't that interesting, Travis? You know, if you talk about energy efficiency, my house is probably more energy efficient than most of your environmentalists. But yet, I don't get reward from the government.
Nope. You got a high carbon footprint because you burn wood every year.
Oh, in fact, Obama wanted to use the taxes to punish me. That's right.
Yeah. you burn wood, so you have you heat your house in the wintertime with a wood burning stove, and so therefore you are leaving a larger footprint because you cut down innocent trees, you evil tree anti-hugger.
Yeah, no, darn it, I forgot about that. Plus, in the wintertime I use wood to cook on.
Yeah, see, the Oklahoma Tomcat, he's anti-tree hugger and he's anti-well humping, so he burns trees at his house.
Yep, I forgot about that. I'm sorry, environmentalists. I was trying to make it sound like, I should get a tax credit.
Yeah.
Well, one thing you have to take care of go ahead.
Go ahead. Thank you. So you can start your commercial.
Yep. One thing you should be looking out for, even more than trees and environment and stuff like that, is your own body. It's very sad when you look it up. A lot of Americans do not eat properly. They don't. Even with the more awareness of healthy eating and all that. And even in stores having more of your organic stuff, people do not eat very healthy. In fact, go through the vegetables and fruit aisle, and you'll notice less traffic there in your grocery store than there is in those middle aisles. In the middle aisles is where you should be staying away from. But if that's you, or you travel for a living, which does make it very difficult to eat healthy, then I encourage you to go to livepure.com/PTAT. That's Papa Tango Alpha Tango. There you're going to find a lot of supplements for every lifestyle, for whatever you need, whatever you're lacking in. There's weight loss products in there. There are supplements for weight loss, supplements for helping you sleep better. Because here's another sad truth is that a lot of people don't get the sleep they need. And, and part of this is because, let's face it, a lot of people play video games, watch TV while going to sleep and stuff like that. You should shut all those off. But if you still have trouble sleeping, another great thing is to get supplements for that, and livepure.com has that. In fact, they've combined it so that they have sleep aids, which also help you lose weight. That also help you lose weight. So go to livepure.com/PTAT. Check out all their supplements that they have there. I strongly recommend the greens. Greens is something that I really, really, really like theirs. It tastes good. It has stevia in it, not artificial sweeteners like a lot of the ones you grab off the shelf in their grocery stores do. Go there, check them out. We'll be back after these messages. Right.
And I have
now.
breaking news. Breaking news afterwards.
All right. Cool. Hopefully it's something good. We need more good.
The Liberty National Network.
Hello, and welcome to today's lottery drawing. Good luck. And here's today's winning numbers. First one up, it's not yours. Second one, not yours. And another number that's not yours. Okay, this is one number that's yours. It's a 5, but you don't get any money for that. And the final number is not yours. Yep, so
chances are you're not going to hit the lottery anytime soon. Don't get us wrong, the lottery can be fun every now and then. Just please don't rely on it for your future savings. How about this? Brew your own coffee at home instead of buying that latte every day. Brown bag it to work instead of ordering in. Ride your bike instead of buying all that gas. These changes alone can save you thousands a year. Thousands. Small changes today, big bucks tomorrow. Feed that piggy bank. Go to feedthepig.org for more free ideas on how to save. Feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Joy, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is President of Hillsdale College, Dr. Larry Arnn, on why the Constitution limits government.
James Madison writes in Federalist 51 that men are not angels. Their passions and self-interest often get the better of their reason and sense of justice. So we need government in order to protect our rights against those who would take them away. But for the same reason, Madison writes, government must be limited, because people in government have passions and interests too. Many Americans today forget this, supposing that we can do away with constitutional limits on government, supposing that the unelected bureaucrats being put in charge of our health care, for example, will rule as if they are angels. If Madison was correct about human nature, this is foolish and dangerous.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To receive a free pocket Constitution and Declaration, go to constitutionminute.com.
This producer is also an emotional support human for a very emotional dog. You are listening to Political TNT on the Liberty National Network. To be part of our show, dial 914-338-1906 and then press 1.
Welcome back. Yeah, it's too bad that Miss Producer isn't on our show to hear that.
Yep. Easter Sunday explosions at multiple churches and hotels rock Sri Lanka. Death toll rises to 207 people and over 450 people injured. They all happened at the same time. So please, people, it was done by Islamic jihadists. I would bet that it has to do with something with the retaliation of the shooting in the where they just had that shooting, those mosque shootings.
Oh yeah.
That's what my guess is, but 207 people dead, 450 people injured in. Let's see, 3 churches and 3 luxury hotels, and then there's a second, and then they were followed hours later by 2 more blasts. So my guess was that they wanted to get more people as they were combing through the wreckage. So, so that just happened.
Very sad. Yeah, I think. I mean, and they're retaliating against the shooting. That really ain't a good way to retaliate. I mean, you're talking about that shooting where there's that shooter that went through Muslim mosque during prayer, right? Yeah. I mean,
and killed over 50.
Yeah, and Christians were against that shooting.
Yep.
You know, we didn't. I mean, I know I didn't endorse it. I said that person was evil, you know, for doing such a thing. You know, in fact, we talked about that on the show. You know what, and
you know what's funny? It's not really funny, but it's pretty sad. Christians will denounce acts of evil like that. Okay.
Yeah.
shooting. They will denounce the acts like that. They will denounce. You remember that church group that was going to all the military men.
Oh yeah,
graves.
That Westboro.
Yeah, the West Nile Virus Church. Westboro Church. We stood out against them. We stand out. As Christians, true Christians, stand against any acts of violence like that. The only time we support something is if it's out of self-defense. But we've always been against the acts of violence like that. But have you noticed the Muslim community never denounces their radical Muslims?
But I wouldn't generalize like that, because I do know Muslims who do denounce violence like that. The problem is their voices are pretty well covered up.
I'm talking about their leaders. You might find an individual that denounces it, but you won't find their leaders, their top dogs, the ones like the Muslim congressman that we now have. I bet she would not come out and denounce this stuff.
Well, and no, she won't, because it's like a lot of your Jewish people in power and stuff like that. I criticize them a lot for not standing on what they claim to be for and stuff like that. But I do know an organization. I have to look them up again, because they were in contact with me one time several years back, which they do have websites and stuff like that, denouncing what a lot of these radicals will do. But it is sad that it's not out there a lot. These individuals and organizations that do speak out against this. But I think there's a lot in the background going on to try to silence them, is what I think it is.
Yeah, and here's some more news. Here's some more news before we go to what you're about to talk about. A girl in North Pole, Alaska. A girl was expelled by her high school after kneeing a boy in the groin after a group of boys went into the girls' bathroom and blocked the door, according to the reports. So she was expelled from high school for kicking the boy in the balls, and because they went into the women's bathroom. And by what it sounds is that they blocked the door. So she's very lucky they didn't do more. But hey, it's all right for boys to use women's bathrooms.
Yep.
We me and you said this. Me and you have said this plenty of times, that something like that would happen.
Yep.
But no.
Yeah, I don't even know where to go on that one.
So that's another breaking news that happened too. Friday, a girl was expelled from school for kicking a boy in the balls. So that were blocking her exit. So there you go. There's some more breaking news.
So boys, you're allowed to force your way into a girl's bathroom, and girls, you're not allowed to block the way.
Yeah. Well, girls, you're not allowed to defend yourself. Girls,
you're not allowed to
only allowed. Yes, girls, understand this. You are only allowed to piss on yourself and blow your whistle. That's it. Nothing else.
That's it. Yep.
Anything else is you will be expelled for. Piss on yourself and blow your rape whistle. That's all you can do.
And I do have to apologize for something I tweeted out. I tweeted out the wrong thing. We are not talking about an officer who beat up a shoplifter. We won't get to that story right now. Instead, there was something else I wanted to talk about that's more interesting. Did you know that we had a little conflict between Mexico and American soldiers in Texas there, Travis?
No, I see the headline. This is the first I've heard of it. You didn't post no link to go with it, so I don't know what you're doing on that.
I was writing, I know that, and the reason for that is because a bunch of people decided they were going to argue with me over our last story, so I was running a little late. But what happened here is that U.S. soldiers were sitting on the Texas side of the border, and they were in an unmarked car. They were in uniform and all that, but in an unmarked car. And this is all part of, by the way, Trump's enforcing, the border. They have he has military personnel down there. But they were on the south side of the fence. All right. Now, for those of you that don't know, the fence is not actually on the border. It's just north of the border, of the actual border between U.S. and Mexico. So it's like that little barrier there. They were sitting on the south side of the fence, but north of the Mexican border in Texas. And a bunch of Mexicans came up on them real quick, apparently, and was pointing rifles at them. Demanded they get out of the vehicle. They disarmed the U.S. military personnel. There's 3 of them that were there, and also prevented them from using the radio or anything. And was checking up on them and all that, and held them for a while until they finally let them go, and the Mexicans went back home. But they were Mexican soldiers. And here's the little piece of it. On April 13th, 2019, at approximately 2 p.m. Central Daylight Time, 5 to 6 Mexican military personnel questioned 2 U.S. Army soldiers who were conducting border support operations in an unmarked vehicle. In another story I read, there was actually 3 of them. Customs and Border Protection. Vehicle near the southwest border in the vicinity of Clint, Texas. And Mexico is saying that there was a confusion between where the border was, and Mexican military men said that thought that the soldiers were in Mexico. So that's what caused it.
Wait a minute. So wait a minute. So Mexican soldiers were in America and arrested and detained U.S. soldiers.
Yep.
And then once they realized that they were in America, why didn't the Mexican soldiers get detained for being on our soil?
Because the 2 or 3 military men that were down, U.S. soldiers that were down there, were outnumbered. So there was really nothing. By the time their backup came, by the time they were able to radio in, and which they did as soon as they were able to, they did radio it in, and Customs showed up along with the soldiers team, all showed up, and they took down statements and all that. But now, the question is, will anything happen, because of this? I say no. Nothing's going to go further with it.
Well, I think we should go all out war with Mexico. I think we should go all out war with Mexico for their soldiers being on our soil. They have no business on our soil.
Yeah.
I think we should send the Texas Rangers down there. I think we should send the Texas Rangers down there and deal with this, because Texas has been fighting with Mexico. Texas has been fighting with Mexico for ages over our border.
Yeah.
They've been trying to define our border since we left Mexico. Well, let's just send the Texas Rangers down there to execute some of these Mexican soldiers coming on our property.
You know what's funny? I forget what the story was, but we did a story similar to this many years ago under our old, before we relaunched the program. And we did something similar to this where Mexico military personnel made a mistake and ended up doing operations in the U.S.
Yeah, they were flying their broken down Apache helicopters into our fly zone on the border.
Yeah.
You know, and the only reason why we knew about that is because them dang helicopters are smoking so bad. It's like a 1930s Ford pickup truck, you know, blah 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 blah, blowing smoke. I mean, you know, just shoot a couple of them down. They'll stay away. Show of force. Not really, folks. I'm not really into going to war with anybody.
Yeah, we know you. We know you, that you're a very, very violent person.
Yeah, I just want to bomb some brown people.
We know you like fighting.
Yeah, I just want to bomb some brown people. And if anybody everybody going, oh, he wants to bomb brown people. That's racist. You never heard George Carlin then. Go look up George Carlin and bombing brown people.
Shoot, I'm trying to bring up this one page, and now a freaking pop-up is blocking me. There we go.
But
all right. But go ahead.
But
if
yeah,
you got more comment about the story.
Well, we need to find out why they keep coming over on our property. They don't belong over here. The only time they have like military people that come over here is if they're welcomed in. But and that's by the federal government. You know, when we was having problems with Hurricane Katrina and stuff, their military brought food and stuff up here. You know, that's fine. That's
you know,
fine.
that's some of my question about this these stories like this. I mean, under the air thing, okay, you know, I can excuse it. But when you have foot troops that actually end up accidentally in another country, I question, how does that happen? Now, I've never been down to what was it?
They probably took directions
Texas.
from your sister.
I mean, I don't know if these guys were sitting on, because I don't have the map or anything. I don't know if these guys were on a road or anything, but shouldn't there be a sign right at the border say "Welcome to United States" or "You're now entering in the United States" or?
I thought there was a fence.
Well, the fence is actually not on the border. It's actually north of the border. So that's where that is. And these soldiers were south of the fence.
There was a border patrol station that goes in between the two countries.
Yeah, apparently that border patrol station is north of the. Like I said, let me take a quick look here. What town did I say that was in?
I don't know.
Let's go to
Clint?
Google Maps. Yeah, Clint. Yeah, I think.
But my guess is that they probably called Judy and asked her for directions, and she told them to turn at the two trees. And it turned out that the two pine trees, so they've been looking for pine trees the whole time from down there. You know, there ain't no pine trees on the border. So they was probably looking for pine trees.
Or they said, okay, you're crossing into America after you pass a cactus. And you're like, okay, which cactus is it? All right, I'm doing a search right now on Google Maps so I can see what this area looks like. And let me bring up satellite view.
My only guess is, and my guess would be, is that the only reason why they cross it is because they want to. And they don't care about our laws. I mean, we know that. We know Mexico doesn't care about our border laws because they keep coming across by the hundreds and thousands of immigrants every day, every month. They're really trying to take Texas back. I mean, they didn't learn from the last ass whooping they got from Texas.
Yeah, on Google Maps, it's kind of hard to see where.
Yeah, while you're looking at that, people tell me, well, Texas needs to be given back to Mexico. That's so stupid when they tell me that. I said, so you're wanting the lifestyle that we have, the rich lifestyle we have right now. Even though we're overtaxed and stuff, we're able to have guns, we're able to drive these nice vehicles, and we're able to go to work, and we're not, we're able to do all this stuff. We have all this stuff. And now you want us to go back to Mexico. How would that work? Once you take a thriving economy like Texas and you plunge it in a dead economy like Mexico, then we'll all be fighting in the streets for tacos.
Okay, here I'm looking at the actual map of where this incident took place. Las Papas Road. Now, of course, where the agents were sitting, now there's like a dirt road or something that goes up Pateria Drive. I'm guessing on all these freaking names. And then you have the Rio Grande River and a bridge. And where the agents were sitting. Now, see, why isn't there a sign or something there that says America?
Or at least Texas.
Or actually Riverside. Riverside Intercepting Drain is actually the, I guess where the Rio Grande is actually further south, so that they're I don't understand how the confusion could be. And, I mean, there should be a sign or something. I mean, you would think so. Because it's a dirt road, actually. But then the Mexican soldiers look to the left and see, oh, wow, there are houses over there. Are we in America yet? Because to the left is, you see what looks like maybe residential neighborhood or something. Unfortunately, on this map, it doesn't exactly pinpoint where the border is. But when I look at where the incident took place, in my opinion, it would be obvious that, okay, you are no longer in Mexico. Because, like I said, there's like a residential neighborhood right to the left as you head, right to the, I'll say the actual terms, right to the west of them is a residential neighborhood. And when you go south, it's nothing but desert in Mexico. There's no town, there's no nothing. So after you leave the U.S., you're out in the middle of the desert in Mexico.
Yeah.
I don't know how they got confused.
They
Stupid
did.
Soldiers.
They just did it.
You think it was
they just
on
can't.
purpose?
Yeah, they can't. They can't read. They can't read. They can't read. They can't read Hispanic, or they can't read Mexican, and they can't read English.
Yep. All right, let me hit a little bit on this, what I did tweet about. The Arizona police, a Arizona police officer faces assault charges after he punched and kneed a suspected shoplifter more than 100 times while arresting him for allegedly stealing pants in Walmart. The Arizona police officer, Tim, whatever his last name is, faces assault charges for allegedly beating up a suspected shoplifter, which occurred actually in December 8th. But now he's facing the charges. The shoplifter resisted and reportedly tried to grab the cop's groin. Why would another guy do that? The officer is alleged to have struck more than 100 times for doing that. If these alleged, if the officer allegedly did strike him 100 times, I'll say that is overkill.
So who sat there and counted over 100 times?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, somebody apparently was there, probably video recording it. I don't know, but that's why we say alleged, because we don't really know. When we were growing up, we knew our parents were serious when they started counting while they were whooping your ass. See, that might have been what it is. Maybe the officer counted. to prove that he was serious. Maybe he's a parent. But that's why I definitely say alleged on this, because I know how some of these do turn out. Well, I do believe, now, to be fair to Democrats, yes, I do believe there are bad police officers. Okay? But I think the majority of them are not bad. But we have bad people in every field out there. Sadly, even in trucking, we have bad truck drivers. But that doesn't make all truck drivers bad, and doesn't make all police officers bad. My thing with the police officers.
All police officers are evil. All police officers are evil. All they do is enforce unconstitutional revenue raising laws that normally have no victimless crimes, just to raise revenue for their local politicians.
Well, you know who I blame for that? The taxpayer. The voter. So all voters are evil.
Well, we knew that because they're trying to take more money from me.
But now, to anyone who believes what Travis is saying, I ask you this. Do you hate all military personnel?
No, if I hated all military
veterans?
personnel, then I'd have to hate you.
Yep. So, but sadly, all military personnel also enforce unconstitutional wars and actions.
Yeah, but, they don't have to. They choose to.
Well, police officers, if they are going to stay at work, they have to enforce the law.
But you know what though? The law of the land is the Constitution, and they set there and make it rules.
And by the way, military do not have to.
Do they not make an oath to the Constitution?
Constitution. Military personnel make the oath to the Constitution. Yep. So why are they enforcing unconstitutional wars? So all military personnel are evil.
Because they're racist and they want to bomb brown people.
You're going to have a lot of veterans stop listening to the show now.
No, they'll probably start calling in all the time. You
See, I don't blame the people who work at these things unless they're, now like I say, you do have bad. Shoot.
There you go. I told you, veterans are racist.
Let me hurry up and edit that before everybody hears it. And we got one person listening to right now too. I did not mean to say that word. Okay.
Yeah, he did.
But even though we do have bad police officers, we have bad military personnel. I mean, we did see that. We do have bad.
I'm downloading that right
I
now.
don't blame. I've already edited it. No one hears it.
I'm gonna put it on a loop on a video on TikTok for you.
But even though we do have bad people in these fields, I don't blame them for what laws politicians make. And actually, to tell you the truth, a lot of the things, and I have openly said this many times, a lot of things I do blame on the voter. If you're voting these states in, you're to blame.
Out of the heart, so a man speaketh.
Now, if this officer did do these things, he needs to be tried and punished for doing that, because 100 times, I mean, even if it's really, the police officer is only supposed to use enough force to bring the person down. I was taught that in the Navy when I worked in the brig. You only use enough force to bring the person in, submit the person. That's it. I'm sure after after a couple of kicks, that guy is probably down unless he was high on some kind of drugs or something.
Oh, you forgot our break there, old man. See, that's what happens.
I'm only 3 minutes late.
That's what happens to old men. They start forgetting things.
What? Man, I am not old. How many times do I have to tell you that? Why you lie on the air like that? Man, you're going to destroy our credibility. Man, I'm telling you. Nope, you're going to have to take over Are you on our studio?
I can be. Which one do you want me to push? I don't know which one you push. You changed them. You said you just changed them.
Yeah. It's a PTAT commercial 03. If you have a small business, we ask that you consider advertising on our station. Simply email us at politicaltnt@ptat.show.
The Liberty National Network.
Where do you want to go to lunch? I'm having a stroke. Did you hear what I said? I'm having a stroke. Why aren't you answering me? I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST, F, face drooping, A, arm weakness, S, speech difficulty, T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
The oldest existing human that we know of is the 5,300-year-old body of a man, frozen in ice, that was uncovered by climbers in the Italian Alps in 1991. His name is Ötzi, the Iceman, and aside from being extremely well preserved, he was remarkable for another reason: the 61 tattoos that adorned his body. For as long as we've been on the planet, humankind has marked their bodies to commemorate important events, imply meaning, or signify value. Everything from a sailor's inscription of a lost lover's name to the tribal markings of indigenous peoples denoting a ceremony or achievement reminds us that using permanent markings can be one of the clearest ways to show what's meaningful to us. As it turns out, we aren't the only ones who do this. God does too. Listen to this powerful verse in Isaiah. See, I have engraved you on the palms of my hands. That verse is part of a passage where God reminds his people that he has not forgotten them, even during an extended period of captivity. And while the most important part may seem to be the fact that God has engraved or tattooed the name of his people on his body, it's worth considering where that engraving occurs. His hands. A lot has changed in the lives of human beings over the years, but we still use our hands for nearly every daily task imaginable. We look at them hundreds, maybe even thousands of times each day. The implication here is powerful, that our names are never out of God's sight. I want us to think about that. If your own life's commitments were to be written on your hands, what would they be? Work, school, your career? Or would they be the names of people in your life, family members, friends, and those inside or outside of your church community? It's often easy to lose sight of what matters amidst the hustle and bustle of our lives, but I think this verse and the principle it embodies ought to be a powerful reminder to all of us of two things: to put first things first in our lives and remind us of our Heavenly Father's love for us. I want you to picture his hands right now, the same hands that knit the galaxies together, and then picture your own name, tattooed in his skin. Powerful, isn't it? Our God has marked us into his heart as permanently as ink sets into our skin. We are always in his mind, always in his eyes, and always in his heart. I'm Joseph Tkach, speaking of life.
Hi, I'm Joy, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is President of Hillsdale College, Dr. Larry Arnn, on why the Constitution limits government.
James Madison writes in Federalist 51 that men are not angels. Their passions and self-interest often get the better of their reason and sense of justice. So we need government in order to protect our rights against those who would take them away. But for the same reason, Madison writes, government must be limited, because people in government have passions and interests too. Many Americans today forget this, supposing that we can do away with constitutional limits on government, supposing that the unelected bureaucrats being put in charge of our health care, for example, will rule as if they are angels. If Madison was correct about human nature, this is foolish and dangerous.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To receive a free pocket Constitution and Declaration, go to constitutionminute.com.
The Oklahoma Tomcat thinks he is a big tough cat, but he is actually as harmless as a kitten. You are listening to Political TNT on the Liberty National Network. If you want to be part of the show, dial 914-338-1906 and then press 1.
Welcome back to the show and to our trucking section.
Welcome back. Which we already entered in the trucking section earlier.
Yeah, well, I do have breaking. Well, this hair broke yesterday. A truck driver was unfortunately shot on I-20 in Texas. A California truck driver was shot on I-20 near Westbrook, Texas, April 20th.
Well, he was from California. He should have stayed out of Texas.
Wow. His driving partner was wounded in the same incident, which occurred about 6:50 a.m. on the 20th. Texas Rangers arrested the shooter at the scene. The driver was 56-year-old Napole. Is that how you pronounce his name? His driving partner was not identified. Hopefully not a kid.
What was
arrested and charged? What you're about to ask, what was the reason? They do not know. They do have the shooter, though, but they do not know what the motive was. The shooter was 20-year-old Brandon Christopher from Odessa.
Brandon.
He's being held
who
on.
Gives a kid, who has two first names?
Actually, I'm sorry, I did forget his last name. That Christopher is his middle name. Madrid was his last name. Police believed the driver, the truck driver, pulled over because the car was flashing his lights. It appears its driver was shot from behind. Actually, they say they don't know the motive, but they say police have not suggested a motive for the shooting as of yet.
The truck driver probably slept with his mama, and that's what happened, or his wife.
Gee, you're just on a roll today, Travis. That was probably road rage. Truck driver may have done something wrong, and the guy got mad, started flashing his lights and stuff. That's truck driver. Truck driver pulled over, which big mistake. But the truck driver probably didn't even realize it. Pulled over because he thought that the automobile driver saw something wrong with the truck or something and was going to help him, or maybe he just hates truck drivers because all truck drivers are evil.
Yeah, well, we've heard. I've read many stories on people that say, "Well, I cut truck drivers off all the time. I don't like them, and I brake check them every time I get a chance to." I've seen that so many times. So people just and when you do some research into them, most of these people are soy boy fanatics who they're environmental jihadists, what I like to call them. But who knows? Maybe they'll come up to the guys. What happened? What went down? That's why I suggest to get dash cams, preferably 2 dash cams. One inside that you can watch out the front of your vehicle, and the second one that's attached to your mirror or your mirrors. Possibly 3 of them. One facing the back of your truck.
Yeah, actually, that there would help out a lot of shootings. Now, this one here is quite different because the guy who did the shooting stayed there. So the police, when the police arrived at the scene, what caused the police to arrive at the scene was a police officer saw the 2 vehicles on the side of the road and thought it was a driver needing assistance. So he didn't even know there was a shooting or anything like that. And he came up on them and saw the truck driver dead and the automobile driver still there. So this one was quite unique in that way. But a lot of shootings happen that we've read here on the air and that see is the other person is never caught because the other person is gone. It's a shooting and then flee. Dash cams come in handy in that sense because, it's not going to help you, of course, when you're shot, but it would help catch the person because they'd at least get the vehicle that the shooter was driving, so they can easily find the vehicle, especially if it's a clear one that can get the license plates.
Yeah, the guy who shot that truck driver, and since they don't know what the reason was, he should have just turned the gun on himself and killed himself. afterwards. Because now Texas don't have to go through the whole deal of putting this guy on death row. Because people, Texas is still a death row state. We will execute you.
Oklahoma.
We will enjoy it. We will have barbecue while you're being executed.
Yep, Oklahoma is too.
And
I think New York. The last I checked, New York was still death row, but they do not use it.
Yeah.
Last I checked, I don't know if they changed that.
And this is where I disagree with the Libertarian Party on, because the Libertarian Party is anti-death penalty. Me, I'm not. I will, I think lethal injection is too humane. I think we should strap them to a chair and flip the switch. I don't care about them having pain.
Yeah, me, I'm for the cheapest way possible, which I believe is the shooting. What do we call that?
Firing squad.
Yeah, yep, fire squad. That's the method I'm for, or even hanging. But
beheading would be fun because your brain still ticks 8 minutes after it's beheaded from the body, so you're sitting there looking at your body. Oh crap!
Now, where I disagree with the Republicans, because Republicans are for the death penalty, but their reasoning I disagree with. And that is that their reasoning is that the death penalty deters people from capital crime, and no, it doesn't. Okay, the reason I'm for the death penalty, which I am, the reason I'm for the death penalty is not to deter crime, because I don't believe laws and stuff like that deters crime, not from actual criminals. It might keep an innocent person from doing something wrong, a nice person from doing something wrong, but it doesn't deter criminals. And when somebody has gone to the extent of where they're going to kill someone, there's no law that's going to stop them. Okay, the death penalty, I believe, is just to get them. To prevent them from doing it again, because it has been proven that sexual crimes and murder type crimes where somebody kills another innocent person is addictive. And these people will do it again and again and again and again. There's no recovery for them.
Yeah, and that's where, it's funny, and I don't know if you ever noticed this, but those that are anti-death penalty, okay, they're pro-abortion.
I brought that out many times. Yeah, I brought that up many times because
you're for killing an innocent person, but you're for killing an innocent person, but you're against killing a guilty person.
Yep, that's exactly what I bring up to them. I was like, you need to be one or the other. You need to be consistent. And actually, a libertarian that was running for president, he didn't actually get nominated, but he was running, on the primaries for a libertarian president. He brought that up. He brought that up because he was anti-abortion, and of course in the Libertarian Party is like but the way he was going to go about it was not make a federal law on it. He was going to do it the correct way and just promote people being against abortion. But because it would be illegal for the federal government to make such a law. But and when he was questioned on that, he made that exact statement. He's like, if we are to believe in not harming human life, being anti-confrontation or whatever you call it, if we are to take that stand and we're against even killing a criminal who has killed other people, then we need to be consistent and be against abortion, because abortion, you're killing an innocent person or innocent life. And I'm like, yes, that's exactly, I mean, if you're going to be, and then one person, when I brought that up, one person came to me and said, hold on, but you're also not consistent. You're for killing a person, a criminal, but not for abortion. I was like, no, that's being consistent, because the criminal took another life, an innocent life. Yes, I'm against punishing criminals, okay? I mean, I'm for punishing criminals. Yes, I am. You know, if you attempt to kill anyone in my family, guess what? I'm going to make sure I kill you first. You know?
Or he's going to call me. I said, or you'll call me, and I'll enjoy it.
Yeah. Since I'm not very... I'll probably call Travis on you. No, that'd take too long. I'm probably going to react my own instinct.
Yeah,
but, you know,
that's normally how it happens. When you're protecting your family, you protect out of instinct.
Yeah.
You know, you're not.
Yeah, it's
you're
not.
not premeditating. But the thing is that this kid. The reason why he did it will come out because once the district attorney in that area goes, well, we're just going to put you to death. He'll be like, oh, well, this is the reason why I did it. Because that's what's going to happen.
Yep. And he may have already came out because actually when I reread the story, I noticed it didn't say that they do not know. It says they are not saying why yet. So it may have already came out. It's just the police aren't saying nothing. They're probably finishing up because it just happened.
Yeah.
I mean, just yesterday.
Like a friend of mine, she was shot and killed. She was a real good person, a lovely woman with her, and we went to high school and everything together. She was our homecoming queen. And she was running from her ex-husband one night because she was fixing to move. She got a new job. She just finished college, and she got a new job in Commerce, Texas, at Texas A&M Commerce. And so she's fixing to be moving. No, she got a teaching job in Commerce for an elementary school, I think it was. And she just graduated from Texas A&M Commerce. That's how it was. And she was running from her ex-husband one night. She was on the phone with the police because he was chasing her. And he pulls up beside her, and just as she was pulling up beside her, he fired off 2 rounds into the car. And right at that point, the local police officer had showed up, and he seen the flash from the gun. And then we called her Doc. Her name was Doc Ray. Her real name was Stella Ray. Anybody can look up that Stella Ray shooting. And when they arrested her, the ex-husband, he said, "Yeah, I did it because she was taking my kids away from me." Now he got the death penalty. He's fighting it, saying that that he was wrongly convicted, which it ain't going to go anywhere. He's going to be executed.
Yeah.
And I look forward to it. And because she was a real good friend of mine. Me and her, before this incident happened, me and her was talking with each other, and we was catching up on old times. Because she when we graduated high school, she moved off to California, and then she was back in Greenville, Texas. And me and her was sitting there talking to each other and talking back and forth and stuff like that. And one of the last things that she told me is that her dream vehicle was a Mini Cooper. And I was like, who would want to dream about that vehicle? But anyways, that was her dream vehicle. I remember what she was saying, that she loved the Mini Cooper. Different, but and the thing was is that he shot her right in front of their kids.
That's terrible. That's terrible. And let me say real quick here, there was something else I want to bring up too in the trucking section. Like I said, I was flooded with trucking news, but there is something that's actually helping the trucking industry. more freight, bring in more freight. And no, it's not Trump, because this item is still illegal on the federal level. It's cannabis. States that are legalizing cannabis, and if you remember, Travis, I hauled when we were doing flatbed, I did have a load of this on my trailer, but states that have legalized it. Yeah, that's right. But states where they've legalized cannabis, there is more drivers that are hauling it.
Is it cannabis or hemp? Because hemp has been legalized nationwide now.
Yeah, cannabis. This is cannabis.
Yeah, the reason why I said that is because the federal government did legalize industrial hemp now.
Yeah, that's true. No, this is cannabis.
Okay, so
more truck drivers are hauling the stuff, which has increased freight in those states.
Yeah, but there's one little issue though that I have with that.
Yeah.
How does growers? Because you can't take it out of the state unless you go to another state that has it. Colorado is surrounded by nothing but states that has not legalized it.
Right.
Utah hasn't legalized it. Nevada has, but there's no direct contact between.
So in New York, of course. I mean, not New York. In Maine, of course, it only can be shipped locally. Michigan, it can only be shipped locally, I believe. Unless there's something that they are doing with the transportation where it can be transported. I don't know. Colorado. But now here's where you got the big thing. California, Nevada, Oregon, and Washington, it's all legal. So, that's what a lot of this article does bring up, is that out there on the West Coast, it's a big, truckers are just hauling the stuff like crazy.
And we have 1 minute, 45 seconds.
If you missed any part of the show or any of the, or just discovering us, check us out on Facebook and MeWe and Twitter. All three of them. You can check us out. Political TNT, all one word. You come up right to us. Political TNT today is a partially Travis Pope and Oklahoma Tomcat production. Miss Producer is gone. We'll check you out on Wednesday. Next show.